Podcast starts now. Wow, 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 wow. Welcome back to StraightioLab. Oof.
And welcome to Season 5.
Season 5. 5 years. Well, 4, but you know what I mean. Season 5.
It's the 5th year.
It's the
right?
5th year.
It's the 5th year.
It's the 5th year.
I mean, 5 is a major one.
No, it's huge. We're halfway to a decade.
Yeah. Well, I thought 4 was a major one because... And if I can be so bold as to address this head on,
please.
I felt like 4 was a major year because it felt like we're up for re-election, which I thought was the funniest joke I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, we famously released voting-themed merchandise.
Yes.
That people have been purchasing everywhere from Miami to Ibiza. And so I sort of thought that was a really fun way to play with the idea of 4 years. Mm-hmm. And it sort of hasn't caught on in the way that I would have liked, if I can be honest with you.
I agree it hasn't caught on in the way that we were both hoping and thinking it was obviously going to.
Yeah, because 5 seems cliche. And again, we are not at 5 yet, so we'll see what it's like when we actually are at 5 years. 5 seems like, everyone celebrates 5, but how fun to celebrate 4.
Well, here's a concept I've been working with recently.
Okay.
Is that I think I will always retell the story so that I am right and I am important. And like, I was thinking about, so 4-year anniversary, I'm like, okay, so 4 years, that's actually the biggest it could be because that's presidential. We went through a whole presidential term, which is not a way that people usually measure time, but I'm like, there, we did it, 4 years. And now, like, I feel that way where I'm in LA and I'm like, because when I was in New York, I was like, being rough and tumble, that's
literally,
like the value.
New drinking game, drink when the thought gets to LA versus New York. I can't believe I thought it wasn't going to be that for a single second.
You aren't even letting me have
go.
Okay.
So how is the length of a presidential term related to LA versus New York?
You're not hearing me, George. I'm saying that I'm always right. And in a bad way. I think this is a bad quality I don't actually have any concrete values. I just make sure that I am right. Like the 4-year thing, what I mean is like we make that important because we're like we want to be right. And now the 5-year thing, we're like, well, that's also important and we want to be right. And like I when I was like the New York part is I was like, I was rough and tumble in New York and I was like, well, rough and tumble is good actually.
Oh, I see.
And now I'm like not as rough and tumble in LA and I'm like, well, actually it's good to not be rough and tumble anymore.
Well, and you're also like, why doesn't everyone needs to grow up?
Everyone should grow up and actually everyone should invest. And I'm like the way that I am just simply sort of being given, like having things thrust upon me in life and just being like, well, of course, I always intended for that to be the case.
Totally. Yes. Totally.
And it's like, it does feel a bit like Trumpian in a weird way. And I'm trying to check in with it and be like, wait, what do I actually think? Is everything just a justification for what has happened to me? Or do I actually believe anything?
Is the thing you are doing by default the morally and ethically correct one? And basically, when you stand for nothing, and I'm now not talking about you, Sam Taggart. When one stands for nothing, basically, like at any given point, you are creating a moral universe around your specific circumstances. So you're literally like, I am having omakase, the best type of meal.
Yeah, I even felt this way with like fashion. Like,
totally.
I think like when skinny jeans were in or whatever, and I was like, well, this is perfect. I'm rail thin. And now like I'm less skinny and like big things are in it. I'm like, well, this is actually perfect for me. This is my, like, I actually created this fashion trend. Like there's something so like.
Yeah. Actually okay. So to make it about me,
please.
My version of LA versus New York is of course my wedding. Oh my God.
What?
Oh, never mind. I got a text from a guest.
Oh.
That started with mortified to be texting you this. And I thought, they're canceling. But in fact, they're looking for the venue info. Crisis averted.
Crisis averted.
Crisis averted. And
so you were talking about your wedding.
Okay, so basically, when we were shopping for suits, I said this on the podcast, but there basically is simply no way to not be tacky if you are two men getting married. This is just like, to me, it's a truism. Like anything you do, if you match, it's tacky. If you do a little bit like, oh, one is in maroon and one is in, forest green and we're in a forest, disgusting. Like that also is tacky. To do casual is tacky. To do something fun and campy like a bolo tie is tacky. To do super I mean, I guess the only thing you could do is fully black tie, 2 tuxes.
That's kind of hot.
I think that is maybe the only saving. But then it's almost like if you're doing 2 tuxes, there's something so, wannabe straight wedding about it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like there's something sort of like Republican.
Of course. Well, it's
so anyway, the point is, every time I would make a new decision about how we wanted to look, I'd be like, oh, finally, this is the one non-tacky choice. And I would just like convince myself this is it.
Yeah. And now you're learning that there's no way to avoid it.
There's no way to avoid it. But there's also, unlike say a birthday or unlike a I don't know, even like a work of art or something, there's no way to even lean into it, because actually it sucks when if I'm saying I'm leaning into the tackiness, that's also tacky. You can't win. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where I'm at right now. I also need to tell everyone at home, we're recording this 6 days before my wedding, so this is what you're getting. This is what you're getting. Nothing, like, I've resisted. I think we can all agree, to my credit, I have not been one of these people that's constantly talking about their wedding, and I've actually been very conscious of, I mean, I talk about it with you because you are my, dear friend, but I think in general...
Yeah, I'm like, we're going to have to check the tapes on that one.
But do you feel like I've been, maybe I'm wrong, do you feel like I've been like constantly bringing it up?
No, I mean, I think you're talking about a normal amount.
A more normal amount.
I do think you're also setting yourself up to fail by saying you're not talking about it, because you're going to have to talk about it.
But I guess right now my point is like that ship has sailed. This week, there's nothing else. I mean, I feel like I'm basically, my brain is broke. Like I can't think about anything else because it seems like completely beside the point, because my entire life is like, how do I make sure my aunt and my cousins are in the right hotel, and how do I want to visit them the right amount and make them feel welcome, and then my other cousin is coming tomorrow, and then my mom is coming the day after that, and then like, is the restaurant I'm recommending going to have reservations, and is it too expensive, and is everyone satisfied with their hair and makeup, and is the one vegan that's coming to our wedding, Max Woodard, going to have a meal?
Oh, he can order something to go. He's fine. Yeah. He's used to it. He can bring some veggies to throw on the grill.
Yeah, exactly. Grill? No, honey, it's going to be crudité. He's going to get baby carrots and Whole Foods hummus, and he's going to like it.
Okay, I have to tell you one thing.
Please.
In preparation for your wedding, I watched My Big Fat Greek Wedding again.
What did you think?
I thought, this is a weird movie.
Wait, was it your first time watching it?
No, I saw it when I was a kid.
Okay.
And liked it. I remember being like, damn, this movie is good.
It's great.
But then I watched it as right now as an adult, and
Tell me your thoughts.
Didn't love it, to be honest.
Whoa!
I was sort of like, it felt like a you had to be there moment. Like I was like,
did you feel like it was like its politics were regressive in some way?
Yes, I felt like there was also like, I remember it feeling funnier. And maybe like it just didn't feel as funny to me this time. Like I was like, yeah, okay, like yeah, I guess Greek people are kind of weird, huh? But
I mean, unfortunately, there's like no way for me to talk about Big Fat Greek Wedding in an objective way, and all the jokes have been so canonized in my immediate world and in my family that like, and here's the other thing, and I'm sure you have things like this too, where like, I don't know which of the jokes work because they are specific to Greek people versus because they are objectively good jokes in a film.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the dad saying, give me a word, any word, and I'll show you how the root of that word is Greek. That is literally how Greek people are, because they're so proud that like the Greek language is the root of so many English words. And I genuinely don't know if that's actually funny, or if because that is exactly what everyone I know does, it was like fun to see it represented.
Sure. I mean, it is a good, yeah. I just remember being like the Windex joke. I remember like that crushing when I was
well, the Windex joke, yes, totally. The Windex joke has an element of I love lamp.
Yeah.
Because
you had to be there.
Well, it's not just you had to be there. Okay, I've been thinking about this a lot. People are talking about like how memes are bad now. People are like, so the new thing is just saying the word demure? Like that is not a meme. Like in my day, we had lolcats or whatever. And actually, and I've fallen prey to that line of thinking too, but I actually think demure is just the new movie quote everyone says.
Wow.
So it's like, it used to be that you would just say like, literally just wearing a shirt that said vote for Pedro was the funniest thing you could do. It used to be that saying San Diego means a whale's vagina was like such a funny reference. And that is all demure is. Like, it's just like, we all heard it somewhere. That girl has like, her delivery is funny when she's like very demure, very mindful. And so then everyone is just doing that. And it's not that they are such, late capitalist subjects that lack imagination. It's just that they're like doing what all of us have always done, which is repeating something we heard on a screen.
George, this is one of the more genius things you've ever said, which it really is like, no, we're just quoting movies. It's just,
we're just quoting movies.
We don't have monoculture anymore, except in the internet. That's where it is.
Literally, it's not funnier to do like a Napoleon Dynamite quote.
I mean, I would even argue it's not even, I think this is a good reframing where demure is not a meme. It is a movie quote.
It's a movie quote. I mean, do I wish that the things people were quoting were from movies released in cinemas worldwide?
Yeah, perhaps people could be quoting Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Perhaps they could be quoting, original scripts written by women.
Oh,
perhaps, or potentially a film like Challengers. Perhaps they could be quoting, movies about a woman going through a divorce and discovering that her third act is her best act.
Oh,
starring, potentially a Maria Bello. But that's not the world we live in right now. So no. I do think it's a necessary reframing. That said, I still think it's insanely annoying when I see anything about demure. I'm not saying like, oh, and actually I love it. Like, I don't. It sucks.
Okay. So here's the thing. Because it's a movie quote, that's why it sucks.
Exactly.
Like, people think they've outsmarted quoting movies and know how to reference humor. They're like, oh, well, this isn't a movie. I'm not quoting a movie. I know quoting movies is hack. I'm quoting the meme.
Okay, so this is the mainstreaming of internet culture, because it used to be that anything on the internet was a meme, but now internet is what movie blockbusters were. So quoting something from the internet has nothing to do with meme culture or internet culture. It just has to do with like, this is a thing people say.
Yeah. And so it is as embarrassing as quoting a movie. And you have not outsmarted it. You are just quoting a movie.
Yes.
And I think the demure thing, it's, when people don't crave originality,
it's hell.
It's really wild. I was thinking about this recently because I was thinking about like astrology and how, like, why it hasn't ever spoken to me. And I'm like, because it doesn't give me the credit of being my own person. It's 100%. Sort of like, it's like, well, everyone in that month is like you. And I'm like, well, no. Like, they're like, oh, you're doing that because you're a Cancer. And it's like, no, it's because I'm Sam.
I have to say, like, my contrarian streak has really mellowed out as I've gotten older, which I'm happy about.
Yeah.
And most things that used to bother me don't anymore. However, astrology, I would say, is an exception to that, where I'm still, when someone like earnestly it whips out astrology or shares a Channy Nicholas tweet that's like, welcome to Cancer season. We are, 2 left feet, flip-flops for breakfast, like looking at the wall as self-care. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Yes, bitch, go off. Get their asses.
Jesus Christ. Like, have some self-respect.
It is weird, too, especially like, I think the weirdest is when you like see someone who you think was or thought was critical, and then they're doing it, and you're like, whoa. Mm-hmm. Also, we're reaching the bottom keeps getting lower. Like, it's like it used to be like, oh, I can see how astrology, like, you're reading and it's like kind of fun to make meaning out of your life, and now it's like a picture of like Pikachu, and you're like, Cancers no.
Yeah,
and it's like, what? What is this? Just talk about, it's the internet is really reducing it's getting, yeah, the bar is getting lower and lower, and you think it can't get lower, and it gets lower. Like, I can't stop thinking about how, like, the videos aren't meant to be watched as videos. They're just meant to be, like, colors and sounds to keep your attention for long enough to, like...
It's Bluey. We're all little kids, and our parents, Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, are just feeding us Bluey. They're like, here's iPad. Here's the iPad. Here's
my
iPad.
God. I did not expect, we are recording this on, I'll say it, Labor Day.
Labor Day, by the way. We're literally scabs. We're working on Labor Day.
It's 10:30 in the morning. And, when we entered the studio, I thought, we've got nothing. And the way that we have eviscerated all of culture is shocking to me.
Can I say something?
Please.
The polo you are wearing is the hottest article of clothing I've seen in my life.
Thank you so much for saying that. It's actually extremely tight and makes me look beefy as fuck.
I'm literally like attracted to you in like a real way. I'm like, this is great. This actually reminds me of when I saw, who's my favorite actor, the bald one?
Oh,
Corey Stoll on Broadway, and he was wearing a polo, and I was rock hard the entire time. There's something about, it definitely makes you look beefy, but then the little like square design is really working. And there's almost something, it's so tight that the collar is actually like ripping, like your neck is actually ripping open the collar.
Yeah. No, I got this polo and another polo from a friend like 8 years ago. And I've always been on the fence about it. And this year I've started wearing this one and been like, you know what, this is really working for me.
It's so rare that a polo strikes the exact right balance between classic and cool.
Yeah,
because it's actually
to do.
It's tough, and I've always thought the only solution is to only wear black polo. Because honestly, if you wear any other color, you look country club. Yeah. If you try to wear like canary yellow, it's over.
Yeah, and Lord knows I've tried.
That's the same.
And also I'm because it looks, especially with my normal guy coded haircut, like there's something a little bit, I'm on the edge of normal in a scary way. Yes. So I'm wearing like, big jean shorts with it. Of
course.
And I was scared that, in the waist up landscape of a podcast, I was worried that no one would understand that I had wink.
No, the wink is coming through in a big way.
Wow, that's huge. Speaking of being horny, I have a question.
Yes,
I have a question that pertaining to weddings.
Okay.
Where does sexuality exist in a wedding as someone getting married?
Totally.
Because when you're a child hearing about weddings, you're like, oh my God, I bet they're going to fuck. And
you mean the couple is going to fuck like after the wedding?
Yeah. And now I'm like, I can't think of like, in my mind, a wedding is like a sexless gathering.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm curious where you stand.
Okay, so this is where I stand. I think as a wedding guest, actually, a wedding is really erotic. And I feel like I have sexual tension with every gay man at a wedding when I attend a wedding. Like, I attended my friend April's wedding in Los Angeles, and Matthew couldn't come because of work. And so I was like a gay guy alone
with a hotel room.
The wedding, staying at our friend Joel's very nice house by myself.
Even better.
And I was just like, I'm the protagonist in in an inclusive Netflix LGBTQ plus rom-com. Mm-hmm. And so I do actually think, I just think being a gay man at a wedding, there's something so like, can you believe they're letting us do this? Should we go jerk off? Like there is something about that. So there's that. Then there's, of course, being a straight couple at a wedding, which, like, yes, you are literally like Adam and Eve, and that's like a whole other thing. You are both completely sexless, but also the entire point of the ceremony is for you to be able to have sex later.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is its own thing. It's very Christian. Fine. I will say, as a gay guy getting married, it is unclear where my sexuality fits into any of it.
Yeah.
Especially because there will be gay guys just cavorting all around us that are presumably going to be doing some sort of mating ritual, mating song. I'm sure that people will hook up at or around my wedding.
You have to hope.
But I will, of course, not be a part of that.
Well,
It would be, I mean, it would be like the sort of like the logical endpoint of like Brooklyn gay guy culture is to be like at your own wedding looking for a third. Be like, who are we taking home with us at our own wedding of the people we invited?
I mean, people definitely have done that.
Yeah, and then like having like a couple fight because
I wanted Mark to come.
Exactly.
Well, I don't want to hook up with Mark, and I told you that yesterday.
Yeah. No, I think to answer your question, so we are staying in a hotel that night, which I think is sort of sexy.
That's erotic.
But here's the thing. We're getting the hotel suite, in fact, in order for our moms and sisters to get their hair and makeup done there the day of. Okay. So when we return to it, it will have the air of a room that was just used by our literal moms and sisters. And presumably it'll have some of their clothes still there because they will have changed there. So that subtracts from the eroticism a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I have this idea, the day after the wedding is the US Open men's final, and I have this idea that we'll be like getting room service watching tennis, and that'll be like first day of married life.
Sure. That's fun. Because, I've never known what as adults, what is expected, or even what is...
For the couple, you mean?
For the couple. And even like what is, because part of me also wants to believe in the Christian eroticism of it all.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but we're not that. We're like 30-something gay guys.
Right. Well, I was thinking like, God, just in terms of like exhaustion levels. Like I'm like after wedding, after party, being presumably very drunk, like going back. Yeah. Do people have the energy to then have like momentous sex to celebrate their wedding? Because I gotta say, like, it sort of sounds like it would be a challenge.
It sounds like it would be hard. It sounds like it would be, well, not hard.
Or not hard.
Woo! Yeah, I think that would be... I think I would need a conversation beforehand where it's like, hey, just FYI, like, let's not. Like tonight,
right? Or is the solution to like literally sneak out at some point between wedding and after party, have sex, and then make your grand reentrance?
Yeah, I'd have like sex that morning and be like, "This is our sex for the day."
a quick handy in the bathroom.
Well, that
with your groom.
That's actually huge. That actually would
maybe that's it.
Yeah, I think that's
literally. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, lots to think about. I have to say, I'll say this. There is something very sexless about planning a wedding, because suddenly this person that you are attracted to and that you are ravenous for is your business partner, and your business is Event Planning LLC. It's, Red Roses Event Planning LLC. Yeah. And you wake up every day and have a business meeting. You both have different Google Docs with lists. You're checking, have we done this? Like, can I check this off? Like, did you talk to your mom about that? And it's not just running a business, it's running a family business. And your mothers are heavily CC'd on email.
Oh my God, that sounds tough.
And there was a period where that like got to me, where I was like, I need to, and I actually did get past it, but there was a period where I was like, I need to like get back to, being in a sexual place.
Yeah.
And then I did, and it was fine.
That's good. Do you have radical empathy for people who have gotten married before now?
I mean, honestly, yeah. It's crazy that it's one of those things, and I remember feeling similarly whenever I would go through a breakup. When you go through a breakup and it feels so all-encompassing, the sadness is just like truly crushing, where you're like, so wait, people are going through this just every day? Like, I'm just walking around and you're meant to just be going into the office and making food for yourself and, chatting, making small talk. And meanwhile, your entire body feels like it's being crushed by a tractor.
Wow.
Like, that's how I feel, where I'm like, this is very difficult work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I do feel that way about moving as well, where I'm like,
yes, of course.
I can't believe people do this. This is like, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. It's like the most unnatural thing on planet Earth to like pick up your stuff and move it to another building, and it's also just never ending. The errands. One of the
toughest pills to swallow is that the ethos of adulting was actually really wise.
No, it's such a bummer because it's true.
Like the idea of, oh, I'm adulting, you're adulting so hard right now. It's like, yeah, you deserve a treat.
You also do, it's helpful to put a phrase to it.
Exactly.
Because you're like, this isn't me. I'm doing something different. Mm-hmm. And that thing, unfortunately, is adulting. Okay, wait, I had one more. Oh, okay. Also, you know how like, I feel like when in our 20s, like straight people doing stand-up comedy are always like, so basically everyone I know is getting married. And it's like that type of thing. And I was always eye-rolly at that. Yep. And now I'm like, oh, but now everyone I know is getting married. Like literally it is like, you know, not beating the like delayed adolescence whatever it's called,
Peter Pan syndrome,
where it's just like gay people are just like 10 years behind. Like,
yeah, totally. Now queer temporality, famously the phrase that I learned but never looked up. Yeah. I completely agree that gay people are 10 years behind. However, there's something actually on the comedic front, you know, as I'm like sort of wrapping up this, or not wrapping up, but like, you know, wrapping up the tour for this hour and thinking like, oh, what do I want like my new material to be about? I'm like, wait, this is a gold mine. Like all these things that have been considered cliche in straight comedy have not been explored adequately by gay people.
It's true.
Like there's no comedy yet about like gay divorce, about like planning a gay bachelor.
Jumping to gay divorce.
I'm personally not getting gay divorce, but I just, you know, all these things that are so cliche for straight people, like it is like gay, the process of having kids, let's say, as a gay person, the like specifics, like the choreography of a wedding, like it's a gold mine.
We're doing the thing that we said at the beginning, where it's like, well, it's happening to me, so it's
good. Totally.
It's, yeah.
No, it's true.
I mean, there's part of me that's also like, were they right too? Like, were the people that we felt were hack at 27?
They were completely right.
They were right. And we were just like being bitches.
Well, it's so funny because we think of them, we're like, you are being hack and you are being cliche. And the reason is actually because we just can't relate to the things they're saying.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a lack of empathy on our part.
Well, needless to say.
Well, it's also like things that we only know theoretically. Like the idea of like my bitch mother-in-law is something I only know as an archetype.
Yeah. Yeah. I there's a lot. Even I'm finding I'm liking comedy that is more grounded these days, and I'm liking to try to do that. And I really hated that concept, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, well, it actually is important to sort of explore what, the daily happenings.
Do you think that maybe that is a response to all of online videos being colors and sounds? It's almost like the idea of alt comedy has been co-opted by people, by like basically like the chat GBT hegemony of like terrible nonsensical content. It used to be that being nonsensical was like talking heads stop making sense. It used to be radical. And now actually TikTok is all nonsensical bullshit. So the most radical thing you can do is to do a traditional setup punchline joke about your mother-in-law.
This is so smart. We're like being reactive to the internet, but in a good way. We're doing activism.
Yeah, it's sort of like the return of, it's like how the slow food movement was in response to fast food. I don't know. I mean, I honestly think we might be too far gone. I hate to say it.
What do you mean? Like as a culture?
Like I just think, I almost think that nonsensical TikTok ethos has taken over so much that I don't know if you can save it by committing to set up punchline jokes.
No, that's true. You know what?
Although maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
You know what the beginning of the end was?
What?
Skittles commercials.
Taste the rainbow?
Because they were always being so weird. Like, remember, they got really weird with it. And I remember being like, this is cool. Like, a brand is like in touch with online vibes. And now I'm like, no, this is actually horrible. And I should have seen that as like the first nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
So being weird and being random is beyond canceled.
Beyond canceled.
How about everyone says how they feel and how they feel about their mother-in-law? Okay, wait. I have another. Okay, this is a concept I want to run by you.
Please.
I feel like this summer I've been seeing a lot of people doing what I've labeled having a boyfriend off.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Where it's like people that used to date break up, get new boyfriends, and then post these boyfriends.
The way this is about a specific person we know.
Oh, don't say that. No, I have to get rid of it.
No, it's not. But yes, keep going.
I'm thinking this is a general trend.
Yes,
I think this happens. And people are posting their boyfriends like in a way that is not, it's competitive. It's an Olympic sport, posting your boyfriend.
It's an Olympic sport, and there's also something that even transcends boyfriend per se, where people just keep discovering new gay guys. Like I think it's literally like someone's story, just like, look at this one. His name is Abe. Like it's just like a new handle you've never heard of, and then suddenly he's just like part of the group. And we're almost in the like kind of postmodern phase of that. First, all of them. It was almost like first all of them were sort of like normal, and now all of them are like also kind of weird looking.
Yeah, they're all a little weird. There's also like at first it was like linear, like it was like, oh, they're younger. Like I don't know them because they're younger, and now it's like, wait, they're the same age. Like how are you exactly my age exactly in my community, and I have not known you for 10 years.
There's almost like a lanternfly quality where you're like, oh, I guess they're everywhere now.
It's very season 2 of a sitcom, introducing a new character, and everyone has to pretend they've always been there.
Yeah, it's very like Friend of a Housewife, where it's very clear that this woman was cast by Andy Cohen, and then suddenly, it'll be like Bethany Frankel being like, we met in the East Hampton like a couple of years ago, and it was a really good season, and that was the year that I broke my leg, but then it grew back, and then it's just like, okay.
Are you ever scared? I get scared sometimes that I will be the new gay guy for someone else, and they think they're living in reality and that it's their reality that I'm entering.
I bet you it happened without you realizing in LA, like because suddenly you started popping up and people didn't know you.
Wait, that's so true.
It definitely happened.
It definitely happened.
I actually distinctly remember when I moved to New York and I was that guy.
Did you enjoy that feeling?
I actually think I should have enjoyed it more. I think there was a window where I could have really been, I hate to say it, sort of a passed around whore if I wanted to. But I was sort of like, I wanted to make a good impression and I wanted to befriend everyone. And then I think later on I realized, because I saw how it would happen when other people would move. I was like, oh, damn, that was me for a good 4 months there. Should have taken advantage of that.
Yeah. I think I find it to be an uncomfortable position. Because there's excitement, but there's also hesitation. Like everyone sees you and they're like, do I trust him? And Definitely. I'm like, how about you just treat me normal?
Well, you're Emily when she moved to Paris.
I'm literally Emily in Paris. I'm Sam in LA.
I wonder, and I have nothing to contribute to this at the moment, but I am trying to think, do we have any straight culture sort of takeaways from this summer, or even straight related hopes and dreams for the fall or for this coming academic year? Because of course we're on an academic schedule. Our seasons always start in September.
Well, we need summers off.
Can I ask you something?
Please.
I think there's been a gaslighting where we're all meant to think school has always started in August, but to me, school starts in September.
Well, that's the thing about school. I think it's always on the border, and that's where it keeps you on your toes. Sometimes it starts in August, sometimes it starts in September. This was, moving around America all the time.
Sometimes it would start in August?
Yep.
See, because I always thought, growing up, and I lived in, 2 countries, 2 states here. I went to college in California. Everywhere I ever lived, school started in September. But I was always aware of this mythology that in some places school starts in August. And I was always like, you guys, that can't be real. That's summer. Literally, August is summer. But now you're telling me that it's true.
I've lived both. And getting out of school also. Sometimes it ends in May. Sometimes it ends in June. Yes.
Insane. School should start in September and end in June.
It's just clean.
That's
clean.
Final. And it should be, I would say, my ideal world, second week of September. After Labor Day, first week should be a short week.
Well, it has to be a short week.
Yes. First week has to be a short week, and then you want to end first week of June.
I fully agree. I think June 5th is the perfect day to end school. Because then you get those 5 days of misery because you're like, damn, it's almost there. Wait, I have more news. I'm realizing, I'm thinking, I have to tell you, I've done a complete 180 on Billie Eilish. Are
you now all in on Billie Eilish?
I'm kind of in on her.
Okay, and you know what? Get ready for this.
What?
I'm all in on Chappell Roan.
You've been hiding this.
I think I just needed to not be part of the onslaught. Like, I needed to discover her on my own.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I just like... I mean, it's all the songs everyone has already made hits, so no one needs me to say that Pink Pony Club is good. But I just had resisted it for so long, and I played it a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's going to go ahead and be a major hit.
Can I ask what finally allowed, like, why you were able to let yourself listen?
Here's what it is. Azealia Banks tweeted or posted or something that Chappell is like the only authentic white pop girl, which I don't, agree with. Sure. But there was something about it that really struck a chord because I was like, it actually is true that in her sort of Midwesternness, she's like, this is my culture. And she's not trying to be something else. In the way that even, some of our favorite women, like a Gaga.
Yeah.
Gaga immediately was like, I want to be Bowie. I want to pretend that I'm like a downtown diva rather than an NYU freshman. Like I'm trying on these different hats. And of course we celebrate that. And I think it's great that she has all these personas. But there's something about Chappell that's like, I am from the Midwest and I love Drag Race. And actually that is so authentic. Like there are so many girls like that. And she just also happens to be talented and a good songwriter. And so she can bring that to the, to the fore. And I don't know, there was something, she is undoubtedly so annoying when she's doing little videos and like yelling at the camera, but that is also authentic. Like that, you actually don't have a right to be annoyed with that because that is what a sort of like 26-year-old girl from Missouri who doesn't know how to deal with fame is going to be like. Whereas Gaga would be like in an interview with Barbara Walters. I remember this so well. She was getting interviewed by either Diane Sawyer or Barbara Walters, and she took off her sunglasses, and she goes matter-of-factly, she's 24 years old. She goes, I don't usually take off my sunglasses, but I wanted to for you. And it's like, girl, have some respect.
Yeah, I do think that Chappell, it's very refreshing. It's like a new angle where you can finally be like, oh, she just like, she is herself in a fun way.
She also is like, I think you have to kind of move past the lack of cool. Like she is she's not cool. Like she's not cool in the way that, I don't know, a lot of, like Charlie is. She isn't. She's not going to be Charlie.
Well, yeah. She's also sort of she's like a reaction to the, everyone having the same Instagram face, everyone copying the Charlie XCX aesthetic, everyone wanting to be like this like bad club bitch. And she's like, she's the antidote to that.
Yeah. So you stand her now. I do love that I'm sure this has been addressed, but I love that her drag persona is just like that, like Alaska's doll from Drag Race. What is her name?
Little Pound Cake.
Little Pound Cake. I'm sure I'm not the first person to say this, but like, it is just funny that she's like, by the way, I'm Little Pound Cake.
George, I almost feel that, I think the world deserves an apology from you.
About Chappell?
About Chappell, because...
Okay, I accept, and I'm apologizing.
Okay, well, you can't just say you are apologizing. You have to apologize. You know what I mean?
I am deeply sorry to Little Pound Cake, Chappell Roan, all of Chappell Roan stands, Sam Taggart, everyone that wrote to us. I think this girl is very talented, and I think it's not her fault that her sound has such mass appeal that people are being annoying about it.
Yeah, it's not her fault.
And just like it wasn't Lizzo's fault.
Well, It became Lizzo's fault.
It became Lizzo's fault, and that's a different story. And by the way, Chappell is getting dangerously close to it becoming her fault too.
Well, I told you she's at Lizzo's pass.
She's at Lizzo's pass.
she can go through one way or the other, and I really hope she goes the right way.
I hope we get to Lizzo's pass at some point because I'm ready. Let's just say that.
That's actually a great point. Do you think? Would you? There's like a would you rather here of like would you rather like remain in obscurity, but the people that love you like really like you and think you're cool, or would you rather get extremely popular for 5 years and then have anyone with taste think you suck?
Well, here's the third path, which I cannot believe she has pulled off. Literally, Charlie XCX.
That's true.
It's insane. How has she done it? To basically completely be in control of her like alt status while also having the #1 album of the summer and literally doing something as embarrassing as tweeting Kamala is brat. It does not matter.
No, it doesn't matter. Well, because she's played the long game. It's been a slow burn for so long.
She is one of our great geniuses.
She is one of our great geniuses.
Anyway, to answer your question...
and in this question, you can't be the third thing. You can't be...
No, I understand. I mean, obviously, spiritually and aesthetically and politically, I would want to, just be niche. But of course, my bank account comes into it and I'm like, I guess I want to be niche, but then like have one secret government contract where I can make all my money. Like I want to ghostwrite. I guess what I want is to be niche pop star, okay?
Okay.
But I'm writing Beyonce's songs. Like I'm a credited writer on mainstream stuff.
Interesting. See that position.
Caroline Polachek.
Sure. That's a good level. That's a tasteful level.
Yeah.
I feel like I would actually hate to be a like writer for someone else for songs.
Okay.
I think it would drive me up the wall because I'd be like, well, that's not theirs. Like if I wrote a song for Britney Spears and it was like a huge hit and I was like one of 4 writers on it, I'd be like, actually, I wrote that. Like I would.
Sam, I'm about to blow your mind. This is your current position, is that you are writing jokes for a more famous comedian with a group of writers, and then you also have a niche gay podcast. What do you think?
I mean, I think you're being really smart, and I think you're pointing out maybe why I'm having this response.
Interesting.
But I obviously, money really is a curse. Money is
you're telling me, sweetheart.
Money is one of the more complicated things that exists. I look at like so many pop stars, and I'm like, are you doing okay? Like when someone like I'm curious about like Tinashe's bank account.
I agree,
because I'm like, I know that you're doing well when it comes to music, but I also know that money is like one needs a good amount of money to like shoot a music video even. Like I'm like, can you do this? This seems hard.
So Don Richard, who was one of the original members of Danity Kane and has had this like amazing Pitchfork-esque indie career as a real niche artist. Like she was in a song with the Dirty Projectors. She has like... There's a sort of DIY element to a lot of the stuff she does and her music videos and everything. Everything is always so carefully done and she has such critical acclaim, but she simply is not listened to by many people. And the way it keeps me up at night, I'm like, are you paying rent? Like, what is your... I need to see your tax returns and I will happily donate.
Yeah. And I hate thinking, I hate that I'm concerned with that now. But it is something that as I've seen the world, I'm like, whoa, this is scary. Everyone, even if you're famous, you have to pay rent. That's crazy. One of the darker things. Like, if you were did you say she was in Danity Kane?
Yeah.
If you were in Danity Kane, you should get housing for free for life.
Literally.
Like, you have provided a service to the community and you deserve a home with a government issue balcony.
It is actually crazy that you can be in Danity Kane and then like that doesn't matter in terms of your IRA.
If you were in Danity Kane, you should be able to walk onto a car dealership and be like, I'll take that one. And no one's asked you to like sign anything. You just get to have it. It's you like when if you were in Danity Kane, you should be like a soldier who like was able to like knock on a door and get to stay in their house.
When people ask, oh, can I see your ID? Can I see your credit card? You should be able to just play the YouTube video for the damaged music video and just show it and say, in this, again, not to quote Alaska, this video is my ID, motherfucker.
If you were in the damaged music video, free food for life.
Literally. Do you have some breadsticks handy? Damn it. I didn't get the syllables right.
No, but you were close. People will get it and they'll find it endearing.
Okay.
Damn, for some reason, that really revved me up. I'm ready to go to war for Danity Kane.
No, I agree. I mean, this is just what the entertainment industry is like. I mean, it just chews you up and spits you out. Like, there actually are not that many former, child actors, one-hit wonders, whatever. Just like put them all in a government, like have them have their own little tax status that's like you gave enough that you should not have to worry about anything.
Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll have to cut the part about boyfriend off?
Not at all. It could be about truly like 17 different people.
Yeah, because that's the intent.
Yeah.
It's a trend, you guys.
It is a trend. Don't worry.
Everyone shut up.
There is literally no way it will be controversial. But that said, I'll tell you one thing. So, as everyone knows, in June, I had my big George's brat moment where I went to one single party.
The brat moment that shocked the world.
And I was like, this is my new life. Like, I actually had, at that point, read this. God, this is humiliating. I had read this essay in the New Yorker about a woman who was in her 30s that sort of like discovered clubbing. And it was like a really sort of like eye-opening thing for her. And she would like go out all the time. And she was talking about how she has this like double life of like during the day, she's a serious journalist. And then at night, she's like going out doing drugs. And I was like, I mean, the drugs thing aside, I was just like, wow, that's such an inspiring story of like, you don't have to do everything in the order that you are expected, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was really just sort of like, wow, I guess like I'll just be one of those like cool club kids in their 30s. And then the way that immediately I had to go on tour, plan a wedding, this has been the least vacation, the least relaxing summer of my life. I've gone to the beach twice the entire summer.
Yeah.
I've never been less tan on September 2nd than I am today.
I couldn't agree more. This summer it's not been flop because it's been like productive in a way that life needs to be sometimes, but it has been like, I feel like I need like a double summer.
Well, the thing with summer is that, life has peaks and valleys or let me say it this way. There's like climbing and then there's plateauing.
Okay.
And in an ideal world, you use the academic year to climb so that you can enjoy the plateau and enjoy the view in the summer.
So
and
true.
I think both you and I in different ways had to climb this summer. And of course, the question becomes, do we become hustle culture and keep climbing? Or do we become, iconoclasts and use the fall as a plateau?
I think, unfortunately, the thing is, this is my thing about like the week will always be the week where like, even if we said we were going to plateau in the fall and just have like a chill fall, it's still Monday. It's going to be, you're going to be getting emails. You're going to have to respond. You can't shake yourself from it.
And people hate to see someone being different. You think you're going to get an email and have like a little out of office response that's like, sorry, I'm plateauing. Like, I actually didn't. My summer was really busy, and so I'm plateauing this fall. But definitely email me back around Thanksgiving, and I might get back to you.
Yeah, that's when I'm free. About summer plateauing. Damn, I had something. Oh no. Whatever. It's gone now. Whatever. Who cares?
This is my favorite episode we've ever recorded.
Yeah?
I'm just like, I sort of think this is what it's all about.
No, I agree. I think I'm sick of. I think premises are out. I think research is out. I think naturalism is in.
Okay. I mean, that's also a sort of post-Marvel post Disney.
Yeah. Well, right now we're doing the podcast about, the woman going through a divorce. We are the podcast version of
We are the podcast
we're Mumblecore
hosts doing Mumblecore. It's like one of us is getting married and one of us is, kind of going through the trials and tribulations of being a upwardly mobile urbanite after an early adulthood spent in the trenches of alternative culture.
Yeah. Do you think I have this weird thing. I think age is confusing me again, where I was sort of like, oh, everyone is everything. Like a 40-year-old can look like whatever, a 30-year-old can look like whatever. And now I'm sort of like looking around and I'm like, wait, that's not true. I'm starting to feel like I'm feeling age shame again in a way that I had thought. And I was also sort of like, oh, well, like, what's there to feel shame about? Like, I have this job and I'm like, people in comedy know me and I'm like doing well. And then I'm like, but now I'm starting to compare myself to people that are like doing much better, who are much younger. And I'm like, oh, I'm a loser. I'm a failure. I'm a flop. I should have been blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And
so, okay.
It's confusing to me.
I was looking up, there's this tweet that I read once from Caitlin Phillips that stopped me dead in my tracks, and I return to it often, which is that I think she had just turned 30, and she wrote, "The only thing I've noticed in my 30s is how suddenly all these people who previously seemed fine suddenly strike me as doomed." And I was like, holy, like, that is so true.
Yeah, that is so
It's just,
true.
it's like this switch that happens where everyone is like running around and like we're all in community. And then there's this suddenly, it's almost like musical chairs where like everyone sits on a chair and everyone's like, oh, sorry, there's no chair for you. And then that person just like poof, disappears.
Yeah. I think one of the smartest things that you ever did, George, is never identify as young. Like, you were always like, I want to be older than I am. Because identifying as young, I think I did it, of course. I think so many people do it. It's hard not to do because you're like, oh, well, I have this thing. I'm youthful and everyone loves that about me. And then you're like, you turn 30 and you're like, wait, I can't like as solidly identify as youthful. And it is, then it's like, well, then what am I?
Yeah, totally.
And I think like the best thing to do is sort of be like, I don't identify as youthful or old, because I also hate when people are like, I'm so old. I'm 32. I'm old.
Yeah. Well,
like, shut up.
As Meryl Streep said in the interview of hers that I recently listened to on Fresh Air that they are replaying as part of their Hollywood Greats series, because she was never deemed fuckable as a young actress, she never had to shed that and therefore have to deal with the growing pains of like reinventing herself as a non-fuckable older actress.
Yeah.
This is her words, so don't come
She said
for me.
that?
Yeah, she was like, it was easier for me to like age into to not. I mean, a lot of this is sort of her own humility. Obviously, the reason Meryl Streep did not have a hard time is because she's Meryl Streep. That's like a different thing. But in her mind, she's like, because I was never like the young ingenue, I was never like, my main thing wasn't that I was fuckable. It was easier to then be like, oh, suddenly I'm 40, suddenly I'm 45, because I'm just like an older version of what I always was.
Sure.
Whereas if I'm like Emily Ratajkowski, I'm sorry, but like, she's not going to play the Iron Lady. Although I would love
what if she did?
What if she did? I would love it if they remade The Iron Lady starring Emrata.
That would be so amazing. So it's not even about, it's not about identifying as young, it's about identifying as fuckable. And I think,
But I actually think you have no insecurities about your fuckability. I think it really is just about age.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. Unfortunately, it's not about fuckability at all. I understand what she's saying.
I was using fuckability as a metaphor. Like, I don't think I wasn't using it like literally. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
But her fuckability was youth for her.
Yeah.
So in the same way that she never identified as fuckable, I never identified as young. That was the connection.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
That said, I think she was actually gorgeous when she was younger.
Of course. I think many people would fuck her.
I agree. And many people did.
Yeah.
Are you going to watch that movie where Glenn Close gets exorcised?
Oh my God. Do I have to?
I don't know. I haven't. It goes back to our thing, and this is, gay and straight culture. It goes back to this dangerous place where camp is now, where it has become so democratized that it has left the hands of just gay people.
Yeah.
You're having fully suburban moms who vote Republican being like, that is so camp.
But they're also right. Like,
they're right.
I think.
And by the way, who's more camp than a suburban mom voting Republican?
I think because streaming has made everything so mediocre, that camp is more fun than something just boring. And so they're like, they're
True.
desperate for some excitement.
It's the M. Night Shyamalan effect.
It's the M. Night Shyamalan effect. It's like, at least
it literally is. Yes, like it used to be that M. Night Shyamalan's movies were embarrassing because we would compare them to, The Godfather. But now we're comparing them to, The Kissing Booth 3. So obviously they're better.
They're obviously better. It's... Do you think M. Night Shyamalan is more Lizzo or Caroline Polachek?
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
Because there's also a world in which M. Night Shyamalan, to me, there's something... It's not quite this, but he's almost Charlie XCX, where it doesn't really matter what you think. He's just going to keep going.
Yes. He's definitely more Charlie XCX than either of the other two options. The only reason I'm considering it is because he also has this other element, which is early, genuine critical success. Like Sixth Sense was like Oscars, huge. Oscars.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think if there's anyone like that in the music industry. I mean, dare I say no, I was about to say a Katy Perry figure, but that's not true because people don't hate him now. People still like him. He's just like sort of been reclaimed as camp.
But they did hate him for like a bit.
But they did hate him.
I think maybe he's Katy Perry, but he's ahead of her.
He's ahead of her. That's exactly true. Katy Perry is currently in her Lady in the Water era, which I hate to say it has lasted a little too long for comfort.
Honey, that lady is stuck in the damn water.
That lady is literally like, get me out of here, but the river is frozen on top of her. And she's like, get me out! And her muffled scream, she's like, and she's literally like, it's a lady's world, and you're lucky to be living in it. And so I think, she's in her The Village, Lady in the Water, The Last Airbender, his biggest flop of all.
Yeah.
And I unfortunately think this new album, whatever it's called, 5679301, is going to also remain Lady in the Water, firmly in the water. She's drowning. She's wet. And then I think maybe next album we're thinking a Split starring James McAvoy. Yeah,
I'm thinking her head's coming out of the water a bit. Maybe she's starting to towel off that hair.
Yes, exactly.
You gotta hope. Talk about someone that just... You've never seen this many mistakes in a row in a way that is shocking.
I did that tweet I sent you that was like, her art is her failure. Like, it is all about, she's like finding creative new ways to fail, and there is something almost joyous in it. Like, it's just like, what else could she possibly do? Now, that said, I've been listening to, what is it called? Lifetimes?
Yeah, it's called Lifetimes.
This is my big hot take, is that I'm actually sort of obsessed with the second single off of 567, Lifetimes.
You can never put you in a box,
Yeah, well, that's how I am.
He loves Lifetimes, folks. I heard that song and I was like, this was made for and by Instagram.
Yes.
It's so algorithm based, and it just like feels like a filter. But in a way where I was like, this is the lane that she should be in. Mm-hmm. She shouldn't be trying to be Charlie XCX. She's an Instagram chica now, and that's good.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with the Charlie XCX thing is, we predicted she would try to be Charlie XCX because of her visuals, but in fact, she never did.
No. She actually
Women's World is like beyond, Meghan Trainor.
Damn, that hurts.
Sorry.
No, you're right. So since you've been resisting the pop girls, like the Chappell Roan thing, now that you like her, is this like the floodgates are open and you're open to all of them now, or is it like she was the one that got through? Like, are you going to listen to Sabrina Carpenter or no?
I don't know, but okay. Here's my answer.
Okay.
Because I climbed rather than plateaued in the summer, that meant I was not welcoming in pop music because pop music is for plateauing, not climbing.
Yeah.
So the question, of course, becomes, if I plateau in the fall, will I now go into a period where I'm welcoming pop girls into my life? Maybe I'm going to have a Sabrina Carpenter fall because I had to spend the summer climbing.
I think that would be really nice.
So I think maybe that'll happen. Everyone's loving the Sabrina Carpenter. Am I correct?
You're correct.
Do we think it's coming from an authentic place, or do we think they wrote really good songs for her?
I think it's an authentic place. I think even if the songs were written for her, I don't know what the process is. I don't know if she's...
I mean, surely, yes, songs are written for everyone. I'm not naive, but I just mean, like, is she connecting with the good music, or is it more of like a Camila Cabello situation?
I think she's connecting. I think she's connecting. There's something about her that even, like, it feels unique. She has a perspective that she's putting out there that is like, feels a little bit, it's sort of the opposite of Chapel and what we were saying, but it's like very much just like, what if I'm like kind of a like bitch? Like, what if I'm like, and not in like a like Charlie XCX cool bitch. Like, what if I'm like bad to like my female friends? Like, what if I'm like horny and bad? Like,
okay.
And I'm like, thank you. Also, like, she actually feels like she has sex. Like, so many pop girls talk about sex and I'm like, you don't have sex. And she has sex. Like, Taylor Swift, I understand that logically she has had sex, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, and maybe she hasn't.
And maybe she hasn't. I mean, start that rumor.
I don't know. Is Taylor Swift ace?
I mean, I think
I don't know.
Awesome.
I'm just asking questions. I'm certainly not claiming she is, but it's been...
I just knocked the mic down.
Sam's mic just fully fell.
That's okay.
Oh no.
God.
Oh God.
Hold on.
Oh, they're wheeling us away. Season 5 ends now.
It's fixed.
Full collapse.
I got it. But thank you.
Huh.
Keep that in.
It just goes to show you, everything can collapse at any given moment.
Well, things fall apart.
Things literally fall apart. The center will not hold.
I love that happened. That was so raw.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think.
All right. So I will think about it. I will think about potentially listening. I will say it came across my desk that Jenna Ortega was in one of her videos, and I want to say Jenna Ortega gets the George Award for that girl's got a good head on her shoulders.
Mm-hmm. That girl's got a good head on her shoulders. Award well deserved.
I was listening to her on some interview podcast, and I said, "Oh, you're a deep thinker. I didn't know.
You're addicted to listening to celebrities on interview podcasts."
Yeah.
This is something I'm like, is this part of the climb?
Oh no, this is sort of like kind of has always been a big part of my life.
Interesting.
In a kind of embarrassing way, because it actually is so useless to listen to celebrities speak. But like when I was a kid, I like loved talk shows. Like that was actually something that got me into comedy, was being like watching, whatever, like Letterman or whoever else, like interview celebrities.
Huh.
And also part of my obsession with Joan Rivers was that she got so close to getting her own, and then it sort of didn't work out.
Right.
But no, Jenna, I was very, she has that child actor thing where it really is sink or swim. And if you are one of the ones that survives, suddenly you're like a Nobel laureate.
Yeah. Being a child star creates a binary.
Yes.
Yeah. And honestly, sometimes I feel that way about Drag Race too.
No, you're absolutely right.
If you're on Drag Race, you can like really become like a full star, or you will perish.
I mean, it really, so much of, I think, fame has been democratized in this way, where like suddenly everyone is Hootie-hoo girl.
Yeah.
And I think if you're going to go down that road, and if you are trying to be a quote unquote creator in any way, the number one quality is remaining cool under pressure.
I think Hootie-hoo girl should have to become a member of Danity Kane.
No. Please take that back.
No, I don't take it back. I stand by
You think Hootie-hoo girl should be in Danity Kane?
Yes. Because I think if she wants to be famous, she's got to pay her dues. She can't just be Hootie-hoo girl. She's got to be in Danity Kane.
No, she has to.
She has to serve our country and be in Danity Kane.
Okay, but here's the thing. What you're saying is what people try to do. It's like the natural order of things is like you become Hootie-hoo girl, and then you're like, okay, I have like a month to release a single or have a cameo in a sitcom or something.
George, I had not even considered that Hootie-hoo girl could release a solo single. And now I'm like, wait, I need Hootie-hoo's track.
But don't you think that is more likely than her joining the defunct girl group Danity Kane?
Look, I of course think it's more likely, but I'm engaging in a different style of thinking.
Sure.
Where Danity Kane, it's if you're going to be famous, you have to serve.
Yes. No, I understand. 100%. I get what you're saying. And I do think that is what takes it from movie quote to actual mainstream culture or something.
Yeah. Because right now, whether she wants to be or not, she is in the pipeline. And I think to ethically be in the pipeline, she's got to join Danity Kane alongside Demure Girl and who else would be in Danity Kane?
Yeah, who else? Who else is going to be in Danity Kane? This is I actually like where your head's at, because I think if we sort of killed multiple birds with one stone, let's pick all the viral girls from the last 6 months, put them in a girl group. And if the girl group flops, they're all gone.
Yeah,
death penalty.
6'5", blue eyes. She's in Danity Kane.
And I actually think we should do that every financial quarter, because it's nice to, we have to like group them, see if any of them is going to pop off. And if not, we got to move on to the next, because there's too much content out there for us to be doing this individually for each person.
It's true.
I would even be, okay participating in that, and, put the two of us in a girl group with a bunch of other gay comedians who have podcasts. Let's see if we can make it work.
I'm actually not opposed at all. I think if I could serve my country and be in Danity Kane with fellow gay podcasters, I would be so happy. I mean, essentially, we already are.
No, it's true. We are. I had a sort of, I was so uninterested in Hootie-hoo girl, and then I was talking to my friend Jenna, and she was like, did you know she's Jewish? And then suddenly I was like, oh, suddenly she has, like, I was like suddenly interested. I was like, wait, this random girl whose whole thing is being like, this like all-American Tennessee or wherever she's from, like that adds another layer of intrigue to me. Tell me more.
No, I think she is someone that, we actually talked about her on the season finale.
I know, I remember.
So it's funny to start talking about her again, but there's something about her lasting power where it's like so offensive. She's like, the fame that she has is so offensive that it's so addicting to think about and talk about. And I can't stop.
It's one of those stories that breaks through, it's like reality breaking.
Yeah.
Like you're like, this feels like a sign that the world might end sooner than we thought.
And it's like, you can't not see it from a zoomed out lens. Like I think everyone enjoying it is enjoying it from a place of like, what is going on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, no, you're absolutely right. And like, there is not a single person that is earnestly a fan, like someone who's like, oh, I love that Hootie-hoo girl.
I loved when you made them Southern. I love that Hootie-hoo girl.
That is a great character. It's just like a Southern person who earnestly loves Hootie-hoo girl. I love that Hootie-hoo girl.
I love that Hootie-hoo.
Now that Hootie-hoo girl, that's a star. I love that Hootie-hoo girl.
She should run for president.
Oh my God. I'm proud of us for not mentioning anything about all the various presidential candidates this entire episode.
Yeah, we don't support that. We
don't support that anymore. There was a little, few weeks there where we were like, sure, we'll dip our toes into political commentary. That's over. No, I didn't. The interview killed. The CNN interview, I said, that is enough out of you. I will see you on election day. Until then, I don't want to hear it.
I will say the only benefit to the two-party system is that you can kind of check out.
Yeah. Right. Period.
Where you're like, okay, those are the candidates. I guess I know who I'm voting for. Now I can sort of check out.
Yeah. I mean, unless, if you're in Pennsylvania, get out there and do some canvassing.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you want me to do here. I'm in Brooklyn.
And I live in fucking California, okay? I live in fucking California.
No, we know it's important and don't write in.
Yeah. Everything we say is a joke.
Duh.
That's
Do you think we actually want Hootie-hoo girl to join Danity Kane? Grow the fuck up.
Do you think there's actually a place called Lizzo's Pass? There's not. We made that up. There's people out there with a damn map looking for Lizzo's Pass. It's a concept.
Can I tell you something else about my sort of this weird place I am between climbing and plateauing?
Uh-huh.
I have been just watching random streaming shows. I am on episode 7 of The Decameron, where Zasha Mamet plays a Venetian woman who is a huge bitch during the bubonic plague. This is a show that is on Netflix, and I've
never heard of this in my life. You're the
literally
first, you're breaking the story.
Yes. Zasha Mamet, Shoshana Shapiro, is playing a Venetian woman who like is desperate to get married because of like class reasons, and it's set during the bubonic plague, so people keep like getting the plague. And guess who else is in it? Tony Hale.
Oh.
And has
in
sort of
a
like
comedic role?
It is, I would say, what's that, famous costume drama on Netflix that everyone loves, Shonda Rhimes?
Bridgerton?
Bridgerton. It's sort of like Bridgerton vibes in the sense that it's like a period drama, but has wink.
Yeah.
And episode 7 of that. Episode 3 of the Vince Vaughn Apple TV show, where he plays a detective in Florida in the Keys that has been fired.
Uh-huh.
And now he's sort of like clawing his way back. Loving it.
Can I ask why you're watching these things?
I don't know, honestly. I think something, as a famous cinephile, I hate to say this, but something broke in me, and I like really have not been able to watch a lot of movies in the last few weeks and months.
Yeah.
And I was like, at the very least, I want something new. Like, I can't just watch Arrested Development for the 16th time.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think this is the thought process that a lot of Americans go through, which causes them to watch Netflix content.
Yeah.
It's this thing. It's like, I can't commit to something that's actually high quality, but I also don't want to just, stare at a wall. So I guess I might as well watch The Decameron starring Zasha Mamet.
The Decameron. I've never heard that word.
I don't know. It's really weird. Amazing. It's weird. I'm in my middle brow period.
Cool.
Yeah.
I guess I'm sort of in a not consuming anything period.
Totally.
I guess I'm consuming couples therapy.
Music.
Still. Music. I actually am.
Pop music, couples therapy.
Yeah. And Survivor. That's all I watch. Yeah. And My Big Fat Greek Wedding, apparently.
Of course, which you hated.
It did. I'm glad I watched it to prepare. Like, I was like...
I love the idea that you're watching it to prepare.
I was, I'm expecting, I'm demanding some Greek isms.
There is going to be some Greek isms. I mean, unfortunately, there's, because it's far away. I think the total number of people from Greece it's like 10 people. Like, It's not going to be this like huge Greek celebration, but they're going to more than, carry their weight. Is that the expression?
Sure.
Okay.
That works.
No, what is it? Pull their weight?
Pull their weight?
They're going to pull their weight.
They're going to pull their weight. They're going to make a splash.
They fucking better.
Yeah, they better. I was told I was getting the Greek experience.
Yeah. No, you'll get the Greek experience. You'll get the Greek experience, all right.
Should we wrap up?
Yeah. I think we have to.
You sound sad about it.
No, you know what it is I really loved that in our season finale we did sort of a little planning and did a fun episode that was conceptual, remember? We each had topics and we went back and forth.
Uh-huh.
And there's a part of me that's on the one hand, I love how loose this was, and I'm upset, and I think it's exactly what we need to usher in Plateau Girl Fall. But I don't want anyone to think they're coasting, because we're not. We have amazing guests planned. This is going to be the best season ever, and StraightioLab has never been stronger.
Yes, State of the Union.
State of the Union.
Our defenses are up higher than they've ever been. We have the strongest Danity Kane in the globe. Mm-hmm. We are ready to fucking kill it this season.
Don't you feel I do feel a bit the podcast is in its like adult, like I feel in control in a nice way.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't feel like we have something to prove, and I actually feel confident being like, this is what we are, this is what we're not. I'm going to say no to this, I'm going to say yes to this. We'll see you at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, can we perform at Madison Square Garden yet?
I would love that.
I know, that would be so fun. You know, a venue like that has a green room that you can get lost in.
I can't wait for another season.
Me too. I think this is
I really am
great.
so excited.
Yeah. And I think it's nice that we were loose. And
I completely agree. I'm actually, I almost feel guilty about how much I loved it.
I think it's kind of cool. As you know, I'm How Long Gone pilled, and
yes.
So
you're loving How Long Gone.
I am, and so I'm sort of like, yeah, it's fun to be a little
just shoot the shit.
Yeah, because I actually like. I'm in theory, I would. It's not what I should like, but yet I'm listening, and I'm like, yep, this is great.
You know, everyone thinks they can do a chat show, and it actually, to do it well, is very difficult. By the way, at some point we're going to have to talk about Call Her Daddy Girl.
Oh God, I have not listened to that one.
Well, obviously same. But the fact that she has become our generation's Howard Stern is something that needs commenting on. I haven't decided where I stand, but she literally is our generation's Howard Stern.
I hate when I find out I'm in a bubble. Anytime, the moment I think I'm not in a bubble, it is revealed that I'm in a bubble.
Did you not know she was that successful?
I had no idea she was that successful.
She is legitimately the person people go to do like candid interviews with. I mean, that's why Orna went on it.
Orna was on it?
Orna was on it twice.
Twice?
And she does this, like, you know, she sort of makes people comfortable. Celebrities will reveal things there. She is insanely successful. Like, they just renewed her contract and it was like millions and millions of dollars. She's literally Howard Stern.
Fuck.
And I've always been like, I don't know, I've never really committed to listening, but I've always been like, her? You know, sort of Arrested Development vibes. Her? And now I'm like, I guess the train has left the station, and if you're not on it, you're getting run over.
This is weird. Isn't it weird that podcasting can be so big?
Yeah.
Totally. We were being weird. Okay, now we're being too loose.
It's weird that podcasting can be so big and that movies can be so small. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, America.
One of the more genius things you've ever said.
All right. Well, see you next week.
XOXO. Bye.
Woo.